Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Agejagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Seamus presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 37, then Tuesday, cloudy with a high of 47. Step into Forts at Children's Theater Company. It's an interactive fort-building adventure where theatrical elements and towering cardboard boxes spark shared creative play. Weekday availability during local spring breaks from March 17th through April 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, today we're going to have our friend Dr. Stately on, and we always enjoy having a conversation with Dr. Stately. One of the things I just wanted to remind everyone, Dr. Stately is president and CEO of the Native American Community Clinic, NACC, here in Minneapolis. He's a 2024 Bush Fellow and enrolled member of Oneida Nation. He is a prominent leader in the Indigenous healthcare, and especially in culturally integrated care, harm reduction, and addressing historical trauma. Dr. Stately, thank you so much for coming on today. I really, really appreciate you. Welcome, as always, to Native Roots Radio.
Oh, Bushu, Robert. Thank you. That was a very kind introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, you're on AI. I just typed your name in, and it has a little picture of you too, smiling with your purple shirt too. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you've seen it, but I had to laugh. I go, that's Dr. Stately, whoever picked that picture out.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't typically like do Google myself or anything like that. So it's kind of funny. My son
It
once told me not too long ago, he goes, oh, he was in school. He's like, I Googled you. He goes, God, Dad, you've done a lot of stuff.
is.
I said, yeah. Hence the respect I command from you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, and we're lucky here. Your son is right. We're lucky to have you on here and just have a conversation about what's going on with the clinic. I'd like to, if you don't mind, just to get an update of what's happening with the clinic, because every time I go on Franklin Avenue, which is pretty often, there seems to be more movement on the clinic. It almost seems like it's done, but I'm sure there's tons more to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we still have a good 6 months, 7 months before we open. So it's March 6th. So we're going to probably open. Is it the 6th? No, it's the 9th. Okay. Your thing on the bottom of your thing is the wrong date, by the way. So it's March 8th.
Oh,
March
thank
9th.
you.
Your
Thank you very
tag.
much.
What's that thing called? It's a ticker. A ticker? Yeah.
Yeah,
ticker.
it is a ticker.
A ticker tape.
And I thought I did such a good job today.
Well, you know, you're getting old. You can't remember everything. I was going to say, so in about April, May, June, July, August. So I think probably 7 months. 7 months we will be completed with the construction inside and on X. Right now, like when you go and see the building, you drive by, you can see it. Like the crane is down, so like the entire structure is up and completed. Right, the structure from the corn shell, as they like to call it. So the building itself is there, all 6 stories, which is really nice, and all the windows are in, you know, and I'm kind of anxious to say this on like none of the windows have been broken yet, you know. It's like no one in the community has like thought to take a rock or anything like that. So please don't, if you're listening to this. But you know, it's all the windows are in, the paneling is all starting to go on, and we're building out the inside of the housing project, and also the all of the things that are going in the clinic, the 2 floors of the clinic. So actually most of the housing was completed, at least the framing, you know, and the of the whole entire thing was done about a month ago. So recently, I think I told you this, we went we took a guided tour with some of the people who supported the housing and the clinic project. Minnesota Commissioner of the Minnesota Housing Division, and then the LG was there, and a couple of other people. You know, the people who invested in it. We took them on a hard hat tour. Went up to the 4th floor, and almost all the units are already like, you know, there's like, you know, the only thing that's missing is like the kitchen cabinetry and a few other things, and you know, they could see like all the basic outlines of the apartments, which is really cool. I do have to tell you that you know, the units on the top third and the 4th floor of the housing project, so it would be floors 5 and 6, would be have very nice views of downtown Minneapolis. You can see like the downtown skyscrapers, and you can see you know, that behemoth of a arena down the road a bit.
Yeah.
So it's got really
the Bird Killer Stadium.
The Bird Killer Stadium, yeah. So you know, the people that live in those units, in the entire, and you know, the other views are beautiful as well. You got like nice western view of the sunsets and such. But I think the thing that I was just really overwhelmed by that whole tour with them all was just like, one, it was a real pinch me moment. Like, okay, this is actually really happening. It's not just a pipe dream anymore. It's not something I just imagined at some point in time. It's actually happening. And, you know, just walking through it, I was like, God, the people here that come here and will live in this place, in this space, will really have a beautiful, beautiful place to live. Right? It's just,
Yeah.
and we deserve this. Our community deserves
Yeah.
this, right? And so I'm just really, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed every time I have that experience. Just and deeply grateful and honored to just be one of the individuals that got to lead this project, and be part of it. It's just it's a really once in a lifetime kind of a thing, I think. So
Now it's 6 floors, and the top 4 floors are for who?
Oh,
For who?
affordable housing, affordable and supportive housing. NACC will have about, I think, somewhere between 11 and 20 units that will sort of like be responsible for managing. Section 811 housing that the city kind of gave us governance over. So we'll make the decisions as on who lives there. The rest of it is deeply affordable. Everything from 60% AMI to 30% AMI. We're starting to have some conversations now with our partners in the community about and in state and local government around, how we create a indigenous, a model of housing and supportive and housing that will be well positioned to support the people in our community that need this housing. Many of our unsheltered people right now that don't have a place to live, and we have a high priority, especially in those supportive housing units, people who would meet the criteria for Section 811. And then I think the more importantly, we're working with our housing partner, Wellington Management, who is going to own and operate the housing above the clinic. We have a great partnership. We're going to work with them and work with our Simpson Housing, who's going to help us with our supportive housing process. Work on developing a model of housing that really responds to the needs of the community and supports them so they can stay housed and get the things that they need in their lives. So,
well,
excited.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about the clinic when we get back. We are here with Dr. Stately, the president and CEO of Native American Community Clinic here in Minneapolis in the Twin Cities, and just some exciting news. And we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho-wah.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Here we are with Dr. Stately, PhD, LP, is the president and CEO of Native American Community Clinic here in Minneapolis. And geez, you know, Dr. Stately, one of the things I'd like to ask you, and what I feel like is kind of interesting, and I kind of probably already know the answer to this, is how many people have reached out to you, different communities and Native communities, on how you were able to secure this amount of money and do this for our community? I mean, this has got to be something that hasn't done around the country by BIPOC or Natives.
I've had a good handful of people reach out and ask me, you know, how we were able to accomplish what we did. And I also have had, like, you know, just like whenever I give a talk or something, people are always like, oh, I want to introduce you to somebody, and maybe you can. And I tell people, like, you know, the process by which we took to get to where we're at was a long one. I mean, you know, we've been on this path now for a good 6 years, right? So in 2020, March of 2020 is when we went to the state legislature to ask for money to purchase the building and the land that we were already in, the building we were already in. So it's been like since that point in time, I mean, it's been 6 years to get to where we're at. So it's going to be a good like 6.5, almost 7 years from the imagining it to actually, you know, so it's not an easy process, and it's not a short process. It's a long process of like getting partners. What I would say is, like, it seems impossible to do unless you have strong partnerships and relationships with people across a sector of things, right? A sector of different businesses and entities. So, you know, I think the hardest part or the biggest part is like just taking the time to build that.
It's amazing, because I'm all about manifesting, and I feel like, you know, 2020, that's just was like towards the end of COVID, and that's amazing that you started then. But you and your group that worked on this must have been really manifesting this, because this is unbelievable. I mean, I can't really minimize, you know, I can't say enough about what's happening and how this is really going to affect our community even more than the clinic is now. This is just a gold standard. It's just a beautiful building right now.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words and comments. And when I look back, you know, we're in the process right now of putting together this. So myself, Sarah Anderson, who I know you know, our development director, and another person I were, so Greg Harrison, who is our vice president of clinic administration. He was our operations officer for the last 10 years. We were getting together and talking about a slide deck we're putting together to kind of use, you know, for the next year or so, while we sort of take our next, you know, vision for the entire clinic to our partners, and talk a little bit more about like how they can invest in helping us to get to where we want with this project. And one of the things that we decided to do, or we were told by the people that are working with us, we're working with this group that's helping us to build our development strategy. They're like, you know, on the first, you know, show what you've accomplished over the last several years of this project. You know, give us a timeline of like what, you know, give us the NACC lifeline, the timeline. And so we sat down to do that. And, you know, when I look back on the 10 years I've been here since the beginning of time, my tenure there, I realized that, you know, so much of what we've been able to accomplish was just, you know, me asking a question like asking the questions like, what if we did this, or what if we did that, or, and I think the other thing that I wanted to say is like, I get a lot of accolades, I think, from people and recognition for being, this amazing leader, and that certainly is humbling and to me. But I also think like my biggest learning curve over the life of my career has been to get to this place where I can be the kind of leader that I am, which is recognizing that like I don't need to know everything. I don't, and I think that there's a lot of people. We have somebody in an executive office now who thinks that way. Where my job as an executive leader or a leader of this sort of like caliber is to recognize that everybody has some talents and everybody has some wisdom and some really amazing things to bring to the table, and just putting together the menu of those individuals into something that can make a really beautiful display or a buffet is like the majority of my work. It's not, I don't, and a lot of times my job is to ask the question like, well, what if we did this? And then and then the next question is like, how would we get there? Right. And so then you just let the people that work with you, if you have strong talent and you've nurtured them and you've helped to build them, they'll step in and they'll like be like, well, I think the path is this way. Right. And then, you do the next best thing, which is you give them the resources to do the thing and get the hell out of their way, and you let them do their work. Right. And then something really amazing comes out of that. And I was really blessed in this process. I was so blessed in this process. NACC was really blessed in this process. We assembled an amazing team who helped us to I mean, I never built a building before. I never raised that kind of money before, never in my life. But we made it happen because we believed. Number two, there was no other alternative. We never thought like, this is not going to happen. We never thought like, this is not something that we can say no to. Once we put our first foot on the path, we were determined. And so that was a big part of it. Having people, aligned and, working together collectively on the project was a really big deal. I have some of the most amazing people in this project.
It's really fun. And I do this once in a while with my life, and especially, being in recovery, we're really taught about reflecting, connecting the dots backwards, and how many people have helped me get to where I'm at, whether it's spiritual, financial, or all the above. And I have a lot of people to thank, and I imagine you do too.
Oh yeah, God, immeasurable, just innumerable. I can't even count them all. I mean, a big part of, I think, the foundation of who I am really came from like, I was born and raised in South Minneapolis. I came to my growing up years, my formative years, I was deeply embedded in like, the civil rights movement, the American Indian movement, all the things that were happening on Franklin Avenue. My mother was deeply involved in those things. My mother was a community activist. These are the things that sort of like, forged who I am, right? They've laid the foundation of who I was. I was a mess when I was in high school. I was a mess when I was a young person trying to figure out what I was doing in my life. But when I got clean and sober at 23 and, went back to school to finish my degree and start graduate school, and when I was 28, that trajectory from the time I got clean and sober and I asked for help, and to this day has been a consistent experience of me saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'll start. And then setting down some prayers and just asking for help and for Creator to cut my path and help me, and when I step into anything I do and I ask and I start from that place, I think there's some some act of providence that happens where, my ancestors and the creator and all of the collective, prayers that and sacrifices our people have made since the beginning of time kind of, get activated, and it just kind of becomes, I'm not saying that it was easy, but it certainly made it easier. Right. And
it's amazing that we've had all these people help us, but also now we're at a point in our life where, with your sons, with my grandchildren, with people that we know in the community, people that work for you, that we can help without, I guess, easy for me to say this, without any strings attached, and because of what's been given to us over the years.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think like I as the leader of NACC, and I think we kind of have this sort of embedded into our value system and the way we operate. We really do try to sort of also give people opportunity. We try really hard to sort of create opportunities for young people to step into the space and learn things, and we support them on their development process and those things. It is a real clear personal passion of mine, but also a commitment of mine to pay this forward, right? I have a responsibility. Like I say this sometimes, like the chair I sit in isn't the chair that I earned. Somebody else cut my path and helped me to get here. So I have a responsibility to do the same thing. I have the responsibility to share that.
I'm loving this conversation today, Dr. Stately. I really appreciate you. We're going to continue having this conversation after a quick short break. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend, Dr. Stately. We'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us. Oh. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Demeny from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies. Oh, this is Robert Piloy. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Agejagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Seamus presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 37, then Tuesday, cloudy with a high of 47. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities, but don't miss out on the chicken, fish, brisket, Philly steak, and more. Maverick's is located in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit mavericksbeef.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend Dr. Stately, CEO and president of Native American Community Clinic here in Minneapolis, Twin Cities. Let's talk a little bit about the services that you guys have, because it's so wide, and, you know, I'm been your friend for a while here, and I'm still learning on what you guys are doing there and some of the outside things that, you know, like healing for men and you know, things like that you're doing. But the clinic's a basic clinic. Can you tell us about the services that the clinic provides?
Sure. So what I would say is our core clinical operations consists of, you know, what you would find in just about any community health center or federally qualified healthcare center. You have primary care services, medical services, you know, basically, you know, preventative care, we treat people with chronic disease, you know, diabetes, you know, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, those kinds of things. We have a big spectrum there. We have a robust behavioral health program, mental health services, outpatient mental health program, provides your typical traditional Western model of therapies, but also have some integrated models in that that include things like brain spotting, Reiki, and some other things that are integrated into that. Then we have our dental program, so you can come to NACC and get, you know, preventative dental care and restorative dental care pretty much year one through, you know, your lifespan. It's a, you know, our dental operation is probably one of our busiest and sometimes our most longest wait list for services, because not a lot of people that provide dental services to people who are uninsured or underinsured or on Medicaid, and that's what we do. And then we have substance abuse treatment programs. We have an outpatient, intensive outpatient treatment program that we operate with a travel partner at the Minneapolis Clinic down the street at Red Lakes Building. We also have a MAT clinic for people who are recovering from opiate use disorder. And they can come to our clinic and get, Suboxone or other medicines that will help them sort of deal with their heroin addiction. And we treat other substance use as well. Within that model, that specific MAT model, we also have we're working with the city of Minneapolis on a pilot project called the Brixati Project that delivers long-acting up to 1 month of Suboxone with a shot, which is helpful for people who are living unhoused and living in in shelter systems. Can't manage their medication very well. Their lives are fairly chaotic or upended, or they just have so many things that they have to manage, right? So that program has been really helpful. We're seeing some really great results as a part of that pilot. And then 2018, we built out our traditional healing program. We started that program back in 2018, actually March of 2018. So almost exactly 8 years ago. And that program and that department has grown substantially. It started out as a program, and now it's its own department and division. We have enough resources in that area. We have a director of traditional healing. Her name is Ashley Jolin. And under traditional healing, we are working to integrate those traditional healing practices across all of our clinic service models and our service centers, including medical and dental eventually. Right now we have a footprint in behavioral health. Traditional healing, we also provide substantive sort of resources to the community at large. We do workshops on regalia making, moccasin making, drum making, all these things to the community to give them access and resources to practice singing, dancing, other cultural things, go to ceremony, all these things. And we also, in partnership with other community partners like Red Lake Nation, MIWRC, and a few other folks, we provide 2 ceremonies a month to the community that anybody can come to. You don't have to be a NACC patient to come. It's open to anybody, that any one of our relatives living in the community. And that's a cedar ceremony that's always the first Thursday of the month, and then the full moon ceremony that kind of happens wherever the full moon lands. And that's
Cool. Wow,
that's for women's health.
That's unbelievable. Hey, I have a question too. Where's the front door of the new clinic? Because I guessed wrong. I guess that when we were eating at Maria's, I thought that was going to be the front, but that's not the front. That's a total different kind of place to meet.
Oh, you were looking at the front of, you were looking at the building on the western side, which we are calling the front actually. But that big thing that's in the front is actually our community room. So we have a community room where we will do a lot of our traditional healing workshops and stuff. Right now, a lot of the things that we do are so big that we don't have enough space in our little tiny clinic. We have to do those things at the Indian Center, MIWC, Little Earth, those kinds of things. And I'm sure that some of the things we do, we will continue to do in other spaces, likely just because it's always good to have a footprint in the community, right? But we're excited to bring some of those things back into our own space when we open the new building. And then the technical, there will be 2 entrances. There will be a north entrance and a south entrance. The south entrance will be on the side of the building that is closest to 21st Street. So the building we're in now, the old Dollar Tree and development building, that's going to get knocked down after we finish the clinic and the housing project, and that'll be made into our new parking lot. So the primary entrance and the primary place where people will park and enter the building is going to be on the southern entrance.
Oh,
there's also an entrance on the north side that you can come into if you happen to take the bus and you get dropped off on Franklin Avenue or something. So there'll be 2 entrances to the clinic. So
that's very cool.
Yes, 2 entrances and 2 exits.
Yeah. And just there's a Robert Pilot parking spot in the new lot once you tear down the strip mall there.
There will be for a very sizable investment in the operation. Yes. Between the hours of like noon and 1 o'clock on Friday or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the clinic, how long has the clinic been around? Because what you're doing right now in that small area before you move into this nice new building is just amazing. How long has the clinic been around?
We opened our doors in 2003. So we've been around for 23 years. We just celebrated our 23rd birthday on February 15th. And then I think I'm sure some people probably know this history, but NACC really did get its start in 2021 or in 2001 rather, when 5 people left the Indian Health Board there was, I wasn't living in Minneapolis at the time, but, there was some challenges in the community and across the community. But one of the things I like to say about NACC is that NACC was started out of community activism, right? So some people left Indian Health Board. They were having some contention with the existing leadership at that time, their board of directors and other leadership. And they left the organization because they just couldn't resolve some of their differences and conflicts. And when they left, people in the community sort of were like, wait, hold up. I've had this lifelong relationship with you. I remember Dr. Carol Crush, she was on the board of directors when I started. She used to be one of the providers at Indian Health Board, and she was a provider at NACC when NACC started. She was one of the founding members of NACC. She said to me, people told her, you can't leave our community. You gave birth to my children. You gave birth to my grandchildren. They were really clear about the importance of the people that they had these relationships with, So I talk a lot about how NACC has kind of really focused our relationship in healthcare around, really reclaiming healthcare, not what we typically have in health systems, which is sick care, and focusing the transformation of healthcare into a relational model where, the first year I was at NACC, I asked my leadership staff, I said, what do you think would happen to our model of care? How would it change if we started thinking of the people who walk through the front door and come to us for help? We started referring to them as relatives, which is what they are, instead of patients. How do you think the way we show up would change? And I think that was a really foundational, pivotal moment in time when I asked that question, because it's always been based in a relationship. It was born out of activism and people demanding that they stay and saying, you're too important to us. You've been with us from the beginning, with my family from the beginning. I want you here, right? And so, they actually got their 501c3 status in 2001, and then they opened their doors in 2003, and then in 2005, I believe, 2 years later, we got 50C1, and we got federally qualified healthcare center status, which was the big. A big commitment from HRSA.
That's amazing. I appreciate this because some of this stuff I don't know, and we always have new listeners too. The history of Native American community clinics. That's amazing, and what a legacy that you are part of. And geez, I just really appreciate you coming on and talking about these things. And rumor has it you may be having a show come up here too. That could be very cool right after Native Roots Radio. So more to come and more to talk about there. And you definitely have so much to give to the community and so much information. I just want to say a big thank you, a big Peeny Gigi. Thank you so much, Dr. Stately, for being on today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the partnership, and I also appreciate the honor, the privilege to be here. It's always fun to spend time with you and your listeners.
And you too. You are such a big part of the show, and I just want to say a big Peeny Gigi thanks. Thank you again. Right on. Hey, up next, Wendy with our sacred animal updates. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Oh.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Age Jagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Simas presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons.
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Hey, welcome back,
You
everyone.
always laugh at that part.
Welcome
That's
back.
supposed to be the bear.
It was the bear, Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to introduce my awesome, beautiful wife. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years, and she talks about our sacred animals and gives us sacred animal updates. How can you not give us sacred animal updates with this beautiful weather here in Minnesota?
I know. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. It's always my pleasure to do that. And yes, it is beautiful. Excuse me. Got a little froggy in my throat. Yeah, so Wanda and I went for a walk. I was just and as I'm walking, there's a lot of people out right now because it's so beautiful out. It's almost 60 degrees and it's just really nice. It feels like, you know, we're coming alive again after this long winter.
I know it snowed in May before, so
Oh
hold
my
on.
gosh, I
relax.
know. I'm not going to get too excited about this, but as I'm walking, right? I'm walking Wanda, and there's people out walking their dogs. Half of the people have their heads down into their phones while they're walking their dogs.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I don't know. I think it's like a safety issue. Like Wanda and I were walking down the sidewalk, and this guy has his head down in his phone, and his big dog are walking towards us, and I can't cross the street because there's other dogs over there. And it's just like I'm walking towards this guy, and I'm like, is he going to put his head up? Is he going to get his head out of his phone? Is he going to notice I'm here? Am I going to walk by and his dog's going to attack Wanda? Like all these things are running through my head. So finally I'm like, hello, excuse me, hello. And he finally like, oh, I'm like, can we pass? And then finally he like, makes sure that is, he's holding the leash a little bit, tighter. He's pulling his dog over to the side a little bit so that Wanda and I can just like pass by. Well, I'm just like, seriously, it's like, I really think it's like a safety issue. I mean, Robert, you remember that time you were walking Wanda down the alley and that dog came, out of nowhere and ran after you guys. Like if you had your head down in your phone or, you weren't going to see that.
That was a lickety split kind of thing, pulling her up by her harness and just protecting her because that dog wanted to bite her.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, if you had your, you concentrating on your phone, a split second, that could happen. That was dangerous. Didn't you tell me afterwards, like Wanda felt like Wanda was like,
she was looking up at me, barking at me,
she was
thanking me.
Appreciated you saving her from the other dog. I mean, that could happen anytime, and then like people like hold their leash, the leash at the end. I've talked about this before. They have a loop at the end of the leash and just hold it with your hand. You're supposed to put your hand through it.
Well, what about those people with the gun kind of thing that can go 50 feet?
The retractable
how do you save
leashes,
your
that
little
drives
dogs
me.
then?
Those are very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming to an intersection, right? And you're walking your dog with one of those expandable, I don't even remember what they're called, expandable leashes. You hold them like you said. It's like a gun. And you press the button and you let the dog go. And
you think you're doing them a favor.
no, it's
but
dangerous.
Urban dogs.
Those are dangerous.
Are all over the place.
I know. And, if you put your hand through the leash, through that hoop, and you have your arm around it, if the dog pulls, the leash has nowhere to go because it's, pulling against your wrist. It's hard for me to explain it.
No,
but anyway, come on, people.
Oh,
no more phones. Let's pay attention while we're walking our dogs. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of dogs. And every day, like on Facebook, it's like people are bringing their dogs to the dog parks.
Yeah.
And there's always like, your dog bit mine. And this
my
happened. I mean, first of all, Wanda is not a dog friendly dog, but I don't know if I would bring my dog to a dog park. Anyway, I found this little thing. It's really interesting. It's from Animal Matters Facebook page. And they're from Best Friends. It's an animal sanctuary. It's in New York City. Remember we found them? Best Friends.
You and Jelaine?
No, you and I. Remember when we were just
Oh
walking
my
that?
God.
Remember that?
That was just out of the nowhere.
Quite a few years ago, we were just like
It's by-
walking
by
around
Italy-
Manhattan.
By Little Italy.
Yeah,
I
and we
can't say
just
Little
found
Italy.
this animal sanctuary in the middle of it's a shelter.
Yeah.
And we walked in to check it out. And they're a really good group. They called Best Friends. So anyway, I follow them, of course, on Facebook. But they posted this statistic, which I found really astonishing. If just 6% more people chose to adopt versus purchase their pets, we would end the killing of dogs and cats in the nation's shelters. So just 6% of the population.
We need to amplify that.
Yeah, only 6% more. But as many, I've had our neighbors, Wendy, what do you think about, we want to get a dog and we want to get a breed, this particular breed. What do you think we should do?
Yeah.
And I give them this long, non-judgmental, serious, what's happening with the animal world today and how many dogs get euthanized and how many great dogs are in foster care right now or in shelters or whatever. And, giving them this big explanation and why you should shop, adopt, do not shop, and why it's important, blah, blah, blah. They turn around and they go to a breeder.
Yeah.
Why did you ask?
Hey, there's something I want to ask you too,
Yeah.
because you put this out there and maybe we can run a spot on Native Roots Radio, but talking about your art and how you're selling cards. You're selling cards, and then the proceeds are going because a lot of our relatives with issues with ice and all that have had to give up their dogs.
Yes. So I have a Facebook page. It's called Pilot's Palette. It's on Facebook, or I don't know. Yeah, Pilot's Palette with an apostrophe. Pilots with apostrophe. And palettes, Pallette.
Ooh.
It's not the mouth palette. It's the painting palette. Yeah. So I know it's confusing.
I know.
Anyway, I'm selling my art. It's right now I have just my greeting cards for sale. A lot of different stuff, a lot of animals. I paint a lot of animals, but I have I've done some Native American art.
Yeah.
I've done just some scenery. I've done sunflowers, and all the proceeds are going towards animal shelters that have pets there because they were surrendered because their people have been deported, and or groceries for people, and or getting their laundry done, et cetera. So yeah, check out Pilot's Palette. And I'll update my page later with some more stuff.
Yeah.
And you could just message me via Facebook, and I mail them out. And you'll get some greeting cards, and the proceeds 100%. I don't keep any of the money. Will go to help people. And thank you for bringing that up, Robert.
And helping people and pets, which are relatives.
Yes,
and I was just just had a meeting today too, Wendy, and it always warms my heart, and I always think of you, but I also think of the Native way too. Is that we were talking about our relatives, which are ones with hooves, tails, and all those things, and
yeah,
and
we're all-
they are our relatives in a Native way, and that's why it's so important that you've been talking about this over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I've been and it's just like when I first started this, I was just like
Gave you 2 minutes.
you gave
Come
me
on.
2 minutes and I was just like in the beginning I was like, this is too much time. Like how am I going to be talking about animals for all this time? It's been 10 years and I have not ran out of material. So
And
there's always stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. And I really appreciate the opportunity. It's a privilege to be able to come on here and just, just spread awareness and,
and learn. And I know you learn and I learn, and you learn by, looking up stuff here too. So it's so important.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Hey, I want to give shout out Dr. Stately. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. Vote, vote, vote. We're still here. We'll see you tomorrow. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's